So good morning and welcome. It is March the 4th today, and I'm so pleased to be here with my co-host Michelle Mullins and all of you. We also have our first of many special guests, Jennifer Grote. So I'm going to pass over to Michelle. Michelle, what would you like to say as we get started this morning with our Remote Pathways community call?
Yeah, I'm just so thankful for all of you starting your morning with us today. We know that it takes an extra step to be here this early, so thank you for joining us. And yeah, just extra grateful too that Jennifer Grote is here. She was our guest, first guest actually, the episode that was released yesterday, and she's going to share some of her strengths and mojo today. And for those of you who don't know, Jennifer is a Strengths Champion certified coach, a nationally board certified integrative health coach with a special interest in emotional intelligence. And so we're going to practice a little bit about that today, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, it's so good to have Jennifer. I know Jennifer's prepared something for us, so we're going to hand the reins over to Jennifer for the next 5 or 10 minutes. Over to you, Jennifer.
Okay, well, good morning, bright and early. So today I thought I would take us through a little exercise that combines looking at our strengths and also exercising our emotional intelligence muscles. And one of the things that I like to work with people around their strengths is to also pay attention to where their lesser strengths are. Right? The things that we might call your weaknesses, the things that drain your energy, the things that maybe you avoid. So I thought we would do a little exercise around that today. So if you have a pen and a piece of paper, if you can grab that right now, because we're going to do a little bit of writing. So give you just a second or two to grab that. And once you have that, I'd like you to think about your current work, the job that you have. And I'd like you to think about something you have to do, probably on a regular basis, that you just don't really like. So whether it's a task or an activity or a situation at work that when you think about it, it's just like, oh, you know, I know we all have those. So write down what that is for you. I'll give you a couple of maybe 15, 20 seconds to write that down. And with that situation in mind, here's where we're going to flex our emotional intelligence muscles. What I'd like you to think about is what are the feelings that are associated with this particular work activity or situation. And since it's something that you don't like to do, we put some emotions and feelings up on the screen that are typically considered to be uncomfortable or negative, quote unquote, feelings. So when you think about doing this task, do you feel stressed out? Do you feel frustrated, annoyed, maybe confused? Write down as many feelings as you can think about. You can choose from the ones on the screen or anything else that comes to mind as feelings associated with this particular work situation or task. Give you about 5 more seconds. Okay, the next step in this little exercise is what I'd like you to do is think about your options when it comes to this situation. So what it really is like a brainstorming here. What potential options do you have when it comes to this situation or task? And I'll start to list some examples to get your mind working. So perhaps you could delegate this task. Is there someone that you work with that could do this really, really well, and you could delegate this to them? Or maybe even someone, you know, if you work for yourself, that you could hire to do this task. Another option is collaborate. Is there someone that you work with, or that you know that perhaps you could join forces with them, and they could bring their strength to this task, and together you could get this done much quicker and faster and with less pain. Another option is tolerate. So this is where maybe this is just something where you need to think, you know, I'm not going to be a rock star at this, but I just need to get it done. And so perhaps a strategy around this could be picking a particular time and setting that aside and just getting it done. And then maybe even having some type of a little reward for yourself. Like, once I get this done, I'm gonna go meet a friend for coffee, or I'm gonna take a walk. And the list goes on. There's lots of different ways that, you know, you can think creatively about how could you strategize, excuse me, around this area of frustration or weakness. I'll give you just a little bit more time to brainstorm your options. And I can't see anybody on the screen, so I can't tell if you're done writing. But the last step is kind of a two-part. Think about the situation and ask yourself, what do I truly want? So this is kind of getting to the heart of the matter. Is this something that I really, I just don't want to do this task, you know? And if that's the case, is there a way that you could delegate or collaborate? Maybe you just want to know that it's okay to not do a great job on this particular task. And maybe you need to talk with your supervisor or someone else, but only you can really know what's at the heart of this. What do you truly want when it comes to this situation? And this question might cause you to take a little bit more time, maybe even after the call, or to kind of get to the heart of the matter here. And then the second part of this is, what is one small action step that you can take to move towards what you want? So it might be looking at your list and, you know, calling a coworker, or researching. You know, for me, it was, you know, maybe it's calling a bookkeeper. I hate the financial aspect of things. So maybe just calling and finding out about services. You know, maybe it's setting up a particular time to do the task and setting it on your calendar. But you will know what that one small action step is that you can take. About 30 more seconds. All right. And, I started with the weaknesses because when it comes to our strengths, energy is a big thing. When we're operating in our strengths, we feel a surge of energy. And so when we are doing tasks that are typically not in our strengths, they can drain our energy. So it's important to look at those and to have a strategy around those. So I'd love if anyone feels compelled to, if anyone would like to share maybe any insights or things that they, any ahas as they went through this exercise.
Hi, Jennifer. This is Linda Kuhar.
Hi.
First off, I put in the chat, like, this was so awesome. I loved everything that you just led us through. I think one thing that was really kind of eye-opening was even in the beginning, whenever you had us list like the emotions around around whatever the task is that, our feelings, the negative emotions around that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm listing every single emotion that's on the screen here. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I carried that much angst around it. So that was huge and eye-opening. So I thought that was great to identify. Because, also then it's like, okay, if I understand what's going on, then I can do something about it. So that was very huge to me. And you said, what are your options? Like, what are some things that you can do? And you gave us some options. And then, so I wrote down a few things, but then I was like, I just wrote down, like, just do anything. Just do anything. Like, just do something, So, because I think whenever you have that kind of angst wrapped up in something, it really does paralyze you. And so anyway, it was just awesome. Every single question, every aspect, it really was very much needed, very timely. So I really appreciate this.
Oh, you're so welcome, Linda. Thank you for sharing. And, you touched on some very important things. One of the things is listing those emotions. It might seem like kind of why are we doing that step? But neuroscience has shown that when we can name the emotions that we're feeling, especially when it relates to kind of those really uncomfortable ones, it actually decreases the intensity of the emotions. By just naming them, there is literally a calming effect that happens to our nervous system.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also, like, listing the emotions, sometimes when we don't list out the options, when we don't do that, we do feel that sense of paralysis because we're just running it around in our head. But when we start listing them out, we realize, okay, well, I could do something, right? I could do one small thing. So that's very, very great feedback, Linda.
Yeah. I mean, well, I really want to take this and use this like consistently, because, we all go through ebbs and flows of things, but, whenever we get like stuck, just ask yourself, I love that. Ask yourself, write out the emotions, and then write out what are the options, even if you write out the options of, what, I really don't even know what my options are right now, but at least just like processing it.
Yeah, you're like kind of just getting unstuck. And actually, I know you said you want to continue to do this. On my website at jennifergrotecoaching.com, if you go to the Mojo Life tab up at the top, this is our free download. It's called the Mojo Map. And it's actually, we take you through this, and so you could print it and have it as a resource.
Yay, thank you. That's great.
You're welcome.
Such a gift, Jennifer, in terms of like process and pieces to help us get our day started. And I think we're probably representative, like Linda's spoken to what we hear all the time for remote workers. And especially now, like so many people are having to make the shift in this moment in time because of health issues. Big organizations are saying stay home, work from home. And so I think for many of us, it's like, what do we do? I have to do this. I don't have the same support that I used to in an office. So what do we do? And this is really something that I think so many people can apply. So can you give us your website again so that people know where to go?
Absolutely. So it's Jennifer Grote, that's Grote coaching.com. And if you go to the tab that says Mojo Life, search for the Mojo Map. It's our free download.
Love it. And if you haven't listened in to Jennifer's conversation with Michelle and I, check out episode number 8 of Remote Pathways podcast, which of course you can get at any one of your podcast players, but it's also at our podcast page at remotepathways.com. So lots of comments coming in. I hope you can see those, Jennifer. Really great way. And this is, I think, Michelle, fair enough to say, like, this is what we had hoped we could create in our community calls, a chance to just come, connect, and take a bit of a pause so that you can get moving. Michelle, is there anything you want to add on here?
Yeah, I was just going to say, yes, that's what I'm hearing. I can see the chat, and Jennifer Grote, I know you can. And like Linda shared, this was awesome, Jennifer, and just love this. Clarified a lot, clarified so much. So just, yeah, thank you for sharing your strengths and gifts with us here today. It has truly been a gift. And I know even people will be watching after our time together. So I hope that this will bless even more beyond our group today. So yeah, great.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Absolutely. And it doesn't need to take a long time, right? That's another reality of the remote world. So with that in mind, we want to always keep to our half an hour. A big thank you, Jennifer. And for all of you, if you've been joining us month to month, to also notice, like, what's different in your world right now. Are you sensing more of these emotions perhaps with all that's going on in our context? And if so, what can you be doing to really be noticing? And so it's interesting how there's a lot of alignment. So many of you might know that over, again, at remotepathways.com at the blog, I do a weekly blog. And I set these way back in November, actually. And once a week, you'll get a new blog post plus a download. So we really want to just point you to the download. You'll find after even the first 8-9 weeks of the year, you've got some good things you can refer back to. So this week's focus is really about skills awareness and leveraging off what Jennifer just shared, with strengths. Part of remote work enablers really are, how do we help people do their best work? Because we may not be able to lean into a team that might be, beside us. So take a look at the skills awareness post that's there. And we are going to be continuing to hold the space for these calls. In fact, with all that's on the go, we're adding a couple of additional calls during the month of March, because what Michelle and I are hearing from our various networks is literally like a tsunami, at least in my world, a tsunami of people here in Toronto that all of a sudden have been saying, go and work from home. And I think for the first few days, it's okay. But over time, if this whole work from home is going to become the new norm, I think people are hungry for community. And that's what Michelle and I want to continue to do. So Michelle, is there anything you want to say about upcoming? I think we might even have a slide on one of our upcoming episodes, or you can talk about where we've been in the remote road in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I encourage you to listen this is episode 7 she's showing right now, which talks about the voluntary sector and selling your startup. And then I think this episode that was released was with my friend and business partner, Jennifer Grote. And you got to experience some of her gifts today. I encourage you to listen in because, Jennifer, you share your remote working story. You share a little more about strengths, and you talk about that thing you call mojo. So it's just talking about tapping into that. So yeah, and yeah, I think that's about it on my end.
All right.
Yeah, just to tap into, Jennifer, what you're talking about, kind of the mass exodus right now that seems like people moving to the remote world, and today's topic being strength. I think that's going to be really important for people. And this ties into emotional intelligence because I'm talking about the Clifton Strengths. So the Clifton Strengths Finder, where there's the 34 themes of talent. And so everyone has their signature top 5 strengths. And those strengths all bring something to the work that we do, but they also need something. So when you switch into a remote space, some of your strengths, the needs that were being met in more traditional office setting might not be met. And so it's important to notice those and find ways to have those needs met in a new, in your new virtual world.
Absolutely. And again, what I appreciate, we touched on, I think, in our conversation with you, is just like the magnification effect, how we can over leverage our strengths. And so those strengths really become a bit of a blind spot for us. So definitely, if you haven't yet listened in, I think episode 8 is a great one, and you can find it on any one of the podcast players. So whether you're on your iTunes or Stitcher, you can also just simply go to remotepathways.com and visit the podcast tab. Is there anything else you want to share with us, Jennifer, in terms of resourcing? Again, do you want to give your website one more time just so people have that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's Jennifer Grote, Grote, coaching.com. And we have a free download. If you go over to the Mojo Life tab, it's called the Mojo Map, where we walk you through the very exercise we just did this morning.
So a big part of emotional intelligence is that self-awareness. And this is where, whether you're working with a coach or even just dropping into an exercise like this, it's the little moments, so the little pauses that help us really recognize what changes we're capable of. Well, thank you. A big thank you to Jennifer for joining us today. Quote that I wanted to pull from one of the recent weeks: most impossible goals can be met simply by breaking them down into bite-sized chunks, writing them down, believing them, and then going full speed ahead as if they were routine. And I think one thing we're really hearing right now is people are making the shift into the remote spaces. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Where do I start? What do I do? So Michelle always talks about, what is it? Eat the elephant first. Can you go into your eat the elephant tip, Michelle?
Oh, frogs first, right? I don't know where I heard this. Maybe it was Kim Avery or somebody. I can't remember who originally said it, but yes, I'm a big procrastinator. But if I don't actually do the things I don't want to do, they just become bigger, and I waste more time and energy focusing on them. So if you can eat your frogs first, that would be great. Just kick it off, get it out of the way, and you'll find so much freedom and extra time in your day when you do.
And
I think that's Mark Twain.
Mark Twain. Okay.
Yeah, he says, if the hardest thing you have to do all day is to eat a frog, eat the frog first.
There you go.
There we go. And it speaks to, I think, who was it? Linda was saying, just get it done, just do it. And that's such a big part of our world of work in the remote space, because those little issues can become such big issues. So we want to give you a moment to just give a focus for yourself. These are icons that are coming from a new guide I've been working on, and there's been a precursor. So I just want to do a little shout out. There's going to be available in the next few days a new white paper for any of you that need to get up to speed quickly in the remote space. We've got a 28-page downloadable white paper. It will be uploaded very visibly when it's finalized at remotepathways.com. But we know that there's everything from getting organized to figuring out how do you communicate with your colleagues. There's some very practical tips in here, whether we're solopreneurs as well, in terms of what might you be focusing on to get a bit of leverage. So definitely another resource for you at remotepathways.com. And we want to give you now an opportunity to sort of lean in here to these icons, to think about what's the focus for this month. If you had to really embrace one thing this month, where do you want your lens to be, or what would you like your focus to be? Just as Jennifer's given us the gift of a pause, we're going to take another 90-second pause just to give you a chance to think about what is that energy or what is that lens focus you want to have for the month of March. I'm going to start my timer. Lean in, give it a little bit of a story, because you're going to have a minute and 28 seconds to make up a little story for yourself this month. What's your focus? And what I might do is we're going to go wrap up our call today just to bring you into the room. There is a great tool here in Zoom called annotation. You're going to find it at the top of your screen, but share with us either by circling your logo for the month or just putting it in chat. What is your logo for the month? Tell us what icon you've chosen just so we can get a landscape of who it is. And I've chosen the rock star. This is like the boss person of like own the podium, because I think really right now it is a time where remote work is coming together, and I find it fascinating. So many of you have chosen the communication, the at the table. So as we go to wrap up, maybe let's bring your voice in if you'd like to share anything. And notice everyone is zooming in to that space of connection, collaboration, conversation. And we look forward. We're going to actually do one more call for the month. We're here. I'm going to go back. And Michelle, what is our date that we're meeting again? We're going to meet again next Thursday.
April 2nd. Yeah, so it'll be Thursday, April 2nd, 7 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll post that on our Facebook page as well. So.
Yeah, so again, Thursday, sorry, say that again, Michelle. Friday, April 20th. Friday.
No. Sorry. The normal monthly call will be Thursday, April 2nd at 7 a.m. And then the special community call will be Friday, March the 20th.
There we go. So 2 days. Friday, March 20th. That call is going to be a little bit later than usual. It'll be a 7:30. So you can actually come with maybe a bit more ease. And then earmark April the 2nd, Thursday, April the 2nd. So let's bring your voice in. What's important as you step out back into the world of work? What did you get out of today's call? Perhaps Jennifer, we'll start with you as our sort of guest of the day. What are you leaving our call with today?
So I just connected with the face-to-face conversation that was, and to me, that's a heart-to-heart. So, and where my mojo flows. So this month is all about connecting with people in very real and tangible ways.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Pat, we can see you there. Pat's been here every month. Good morning. And how about
Good morning.
Well, you chose the same thing. What does that represent for you?
Okay, so I chose, the target bullseye. I really need to focus on what it is that is most important. Bringing somebody else on with me as a partner, he's just starting, so I need to really be focused in order to focus and figure out where we both need to meet and what we need to work on. So it's going to be a challenging month. So it's balancing the work and focusing on where we need to go. And Jennifer, this was just a really great, the mojo is wonderful. I'm going to use it. I work with young people, and I think it would really help them as well to determine their struggles and some of the things and try to overcome some of the things that they try to overcome before going out on internships. So thank you. It's very valuable.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. And if anyone else would like to feed in, just unmute your mic. That'll be our signal to let you know. Maybe we'll go to Melissa then. Over to you, Melissa.
Hi, everyone. Again, I just want to comment that this was absolutely amazing exercise, and it was a great way to kick off the busyness that I've been experiencing, and just kind of take a step back, and clarified what my next coaching call will be with my coach Michelle Mullins, who's on this call. And and then lastly, those icons are really powerful too, and I had trouble choosing just one. but the sun moon balance, just as we get when busyness sets in, just to remember that there's a time and a season for everything, and we're not meant to do it all, but to focus on what's most important in our life, what our strengths are, what we're called to do. And so I just really like that icon. And thank you all so much.
Well, thank you for joining us, Melissa. Again, you're not here physically with us. We represent two parts of the continent as well, 3 different countries in our small community this morning. And I think what I love about this is we can come connect and, you know, set off in our day. Michelle, any final words as we go to wrap up?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if anybody needs to hop off right now, we completely understand and just want to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a gift that you are here in the remote space with us. So thank you for that gift today.
All right. We hope to see you on our next call. We'll continue to have great moments like this. Hope Jennifer will come back and maybe bless us. We're hoping. I don't know if you know this, Jennifer. We're going to tap you for a future episode. You're on our list.
Absolutely. Be
Michelle
happy
and I
to.
are busy doing other interviews as well, so we hope to have many of those special guests. And yeah, we're here to be of service to you in the remote space. So have a great week, everyone. Join us on the 20th at 7:30 if you're available that Friday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Take care.